and welcome to GenAI Live. We're here from the showroom floor of reInvent, and here talking about all things generative AI with our partners. My name is Wayne Saxe. I'm a Solutions Architecture Manager here at AWS, and it's just exciting to have everybody here to see the activity behind us, and to have two great colleagues right next to me. So right here, Adrian San Miguel, introduce yourself.
Hey folks, my name is Adrian San Miguel. I'm a partner enterprise architect here at AWS. Much like Wayne, we're, I want to say, very scholared or tenured individuals. Been around for just about 9 years, give or take a month or whatever. But we've seen a lot, and we've seen effectively set at the precipice of watching technology evolve and watching what great things partners are doing with this technology. Today we're joined by Pete McEvoy, head of data and AI for the Americas with DXC. Please introduce yourself, Pete, and let us know what we'll be talking about today.
Thank you. Pete McEvoy, I'm the head of data and AI for the Americas at DXC. And effectively, what that job means is I'm responsible at DXC for defining the capabilities we need to help our customers out. And further to that, looking at how do we build, buy, or partner to deliver those.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. It sounds very simple, but no, it's daunting. Yeah. Almost when you hear data and analytics, and especially now with everybody wanting to take mountains of data. That as we were talking before we came on screen, the 30-year, 50-year, 100-year project, it gets very important. Darn near crucial to make sure that you have an appropriate and strong data foundation before you even get going. Would love to hear your opinion and thought on that. Yeah,
absolutely. Like the number one mistake is rush into a sort of poor quality data, right? Start to build models on that. Classic, garbage in, garbage out. Yeah. But I think the opposite of that, as you just alluded to, is, I'm going to launch a 100-year project. I'm going to get all my data structured, quality. Yeah. So what we look at is somewhere in between. Like, do you have the core data you need? Is it of a quality that supports what you're trying to do? And then do you have the flexibility to add, augment, and expand that infrastructure, right? And do so seamlessly. So, piping more data in should be, days, weeks, not months, years, right?
So to me, that sounds like an art form, not a science.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my experience with customers of varying sort of stages of the maturity curve is it's like a paralysis by analysis. Yep. Because they know that getting to a production outcome is going to be work, and they don't want to undertake that work unless they feel like there's a chance of success. And we've all told them 100 times, hey, you got to have good data to get to your chances of success. So what do you do to help a customer get the confidence that their data is going to be in shape when it's time to get rolling? Yeah,
I think there's a whole bag of tricks, right? So you can start with simplistic proof of concepts. You can grow those, right? So so you can start with, we're going to taxonomize and ingest some of your unstructured data. So I'm a financial services guy. We're going to read your reg filings, and we're going to tell you, where you have risk, right? That's an easy one to do. Then you start to progress into, what structured data do I need to bring into that? How do I need to blend this? What does my ecosystem need to look like? How do I control and manage it? So you can go into this sort of stepwise view, or you can come top down and you can say, what is important to this organization, right? Is risk data important? It has to be highly precise. There are, you guys know better than I do, there's reference architectures to do this, right? That let's apply those, let's do that. Or you can do something in between, right? Let's go bottom up on things that are low risk. Let's go top down on those things that are high risk, right?
So I guess kind of a variation on that question. Does it vary across industry, or are you seeing any level of specificity as you go? It
varies across industry, dramatically, right? So highly regulated industries, they need very, very tight, stringent data control. It varies by domicile, right? Oh. You have privacy concerns, you have security concerns that are different, in-country, out-of-country data. And it varies by data type, payment data, health data, right? So all these things kind of go into a mixing bowl, you could be subject to enormous regulations or none at all.
That actually kind of reminds me, and it may have been when you briefly left Amazon that it happened, but I remember working with a partner in the Middle East on oil and gas and mineral data sets they wanted to do something with, and began running it through their first iteration of a large language model. But because of the nature of the data and the industry of the data and the country within the data, it was just death by 1,000 paper cuts for them to actually get started. Once they finally did, how specific and which specific set of regulations or privacy guidelines, et cetera, data classification, it just made it exactly what you mentioned, the analysis paralysis. So ultimately, they had to abandon it because they could not trust the integrity of the data as they were getting ready to go. So with that in mind, you happen to have any examples of how these different industries are leveraging things to avoid that type of situation where you have something you might be able to do, but you don't know where to best get started?
Yeah. So financial services has a huge issue with customer data. So what many of them are doing is one of two things. They're either anonymizing the data, right, which can lead to anomalous results, but better than nothing, right? Or they're like IDing the data. So there's no Pete McEvoy TIN number X. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So, they're doing things like that. They're keeping, private data locally in a RAG. So they're addressing this with, one, the data's not shared publicly that they think is private, or it's anonymized in some capacity, right? And then there's all, as you kind of indicate, there's all kinds of other things. Like there are, contracts between like an OEM and a finance arm. There's all kinds of things that make it legally okay and absorb the risk in some capacity, right? There's opt-in, opt-outs to customers as well.
So I guess a follow-up to that.
Oh, yeah, so what I was going to ask is, I think different industries will have sort of best use cases, right? Like, your first use case for FinServ, maybe banking might even be a little different than insurance, right? You're going to have some different ways to get started. Do you have any advice for pick an industry or two of like what's a good one that's not going to get you bogged down in regulatory compliance, but also is going to show some meaningful business outcome?
So first off, the canonical one that everyone's doing is code assist, right, on development, and there's clear. There's clear productivity lift, there's clear soft savings, right? The next one and cross-industry everyone's doing is knowledge assistant call center, right? So let's put those aside because they're unexciting. What most industries are starting with is like data or document interrogation, right? And that's a simple one. I gave the example in financial services on reg. In insurance, they're looking at policy renewals, so they can do interrogate the document there. They're augmenting the OCR stack to do sort of better recognition and interrogation. The next one everyone's doing is some kind of assist product, right? So we see risk assist, where it's helping walk risk professionals through sort of shocking their portfolio. There's at least 15 commercial products out in manufacturing to do assist. And we see all of these in call center as well, right?
So it kind of actually made me forget the previous question and really had me wondering, this is a lot for the average organization. So a lot for the average partner, even just the end consumer, to see the art of possible and have a wealth of opportunity to explore these different products, solutions, services. How is DXC helping these organizations navigate these changes? Because I remember just a couple years ago, hey, here's a goofy thing. You can go ask ChatGPT to give you song lyrics or a random movie quote, and now it's revolutionizing the way that businesses are operating for the most part. So I would love to hear how you're helping these customers navigate these waters.
Yeah. I'll just take three very specific things. One is, back to the first question is building a strong data foundation. So we're doing a lot of work around data plumbing. We're doing a lot of work around data strategy, like how much is enough, how fast can you move, and how will you be ready for generative AI, right? The next thing we're doing is a series of use cases. So, we have, a series of agentic use cases like vision rec, defect management in manufacturing. We have, regulatory compliance in financial services. So we're bringing use cases. These aren't pre-baked use cases. These are, let's put your framework into this, and we know the value it will deliver, right? So there's easy to sell business cases. Okay. And then we're helping scale the productionalization of these. As you both know very well, this is, it's a far cry from, typing in ChatGPT to productionalizing a model, delivering SLAs, backing it up and secure and making it secure.
Yeah, something that you mentioned that kind of resonates with me. A couple of years ago, I was working with a partner in South America that was approached by a manufacturing company that said, hey, we need better help with defect detection, because anytime that we have a quality issue and that line shuts down, that's millions of dollars an hour that's being lost. So being able to even recapture a portion of that by automating or leveraging the data sets, the vision recognition tools that are there, that's huge, that's transformational.
Yeah, it's massive. So we have manufacturing clients we've done that for. We've also done vision rec inside of manufacturing, not only for defect, but to basically to show the customer the assembly. So we even have a case study at our booth where, we're looking at the car, we're pulling it out, we're putting it on a background, and the buyer can see effectively their car moving through the line,
That's pretty cool. So
yeah, in the mountains.
As a customer experience.
Yeah.
Benefit. That's cool. I like that idea.
No more showing up and the quarter panels on your car don't line up and the door doesn't open the right way. I have a friend that this actually happened to, and he didn't have a choice in this specific, because by the time he got it, it was already delivered, and it's like, hey, what the heck?
It's like watching your house be built, right?
Yeah, that would be pretty amazing. It's one thing to see the time lapse or get pictures as you're going, but to be very deliberately walked through from start to finish, and that's huge. That's an experience that, up until present, never really thought that could actually be a thing that you could give a customer.
One of the things that I like so much about where we are in the generative AI curve is we are just now realizing we can ask big, crazy questions of technology, and sometimes the answer is sure, we can do that. Whereas before it was like, no. Yeah. Right. So what are some of the things that you've seen customers ask for, that you were like, oh, I guess we can do that. That's pretty cool.
That is a great question.
Yeah, it's a great question. And, what we're seeing more and more is, customers want to reduce the toil factor in their job. So they want to eliminate those things that they don't want to do, right? The best example that everyone can relate to is, look at the agentic editors in coding now. Like, I tell it, create me an AI model, and it's there, all the scaffolding, everything. That's starting to happen in customer service. That's starting to happen in IT ops, right? There's auto or zero interaction fixes. So we're starting to see, this is what customers want, is they want the AI to action on their behalf. They want just to kind of control, they want to refine what it's doing, not do it anymore, right? So those are things we're seeing, those are creating big changes. They're creating a lot of capacity in the workforce, right?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that we've talked about plenty in past years, and speaking with DXC when I ran the AWS MSP program back in the day, was leveraging AI, leveraging technology, leveraging automation to do the thing, to put higher emphasis on silicon over carbon, to let the machine do the thing so you don't have to. I like how you alluded to ops, where you can allow the AI agent or allow the system to go through and auto heal or make a decision and say, hey, if CPU is 97% or higher over X number of period, add in additional capacity. That allows the human in the loop here to focus on higher value tasks, higher desirable task. Yeah. And I really like the way that you put it, the toil factor. If I'm an operator leveraging a system like this with intelligence baked in that I leverage a partner like DXC to help me build, that means I don't dread going into the NOC every day or into the operations center and just sit there and wait for the next thing to break and turn red and go jump, do thing. You don't have to worry about that. That frees you up to deliver better outcomes to the customer, to your end consumer, and actually kind of change the narrative there. Even just in something that's simple and mundane as ops, you're no longer a cost center. You're adding value. You're helping the end consumer of your services have a better outcome and not get paged at 2 in the morning because CPU is high, or you open a ticket to them that says, I restarted a lamp for you, and I guess I'll go back to sleep. And you start extrapolating that. You made mention of walking through customers seeing the car get built, delivered against the background. That's huge. That's not something I could have ever envisioned in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And I think as we're really at the beginning of this journey, the art of possible is getting really, really exciting in this space again. And I'm curious, Pete, what do you think is next? Where do you see your customers starting to pull you? And just wondering if you could leave us with any nuggets on what you think is just veering right around the corner.
Yeah, I think I'll say a couple things. One is, first off, I think all our customers need to become aware that the retail expectations are changing. Right.
Okay.
So I have on my computer, half a dozen sort of AI LLM products that I interact with. I have Grammarly. I have Notion AI. That is the world that is starting to interact with companies. So they're expecting, people are not expecting to write long narratives. They're not expecting to wait days for customer service responses. So the expectations are changing. So we expect to see, a surge in, AI deployments. Now, with that, you can kind of look at the movie of what's happened in code, what's happened in knowledge assist. They've gotten better. They've put the agentic capability. So we're going to see whole swaths of work just disappear, right? Or automate. We're going to see expertise, up level dramatically. If you're a mid-level engineer, with a very, very good editor, you can behave like a senior engineer, right? Now, we can argue the risks that come with that, but the productivity and the output will be very similar. So I think we're going to see that. We're going to see huge organizational changes around that. And then we expect to see a lot of work redesigned, right? A lot of document-intensive work. We do consultative services. We expect to see that dramatically different. We do custom dev. We expect to see that dramatically different at different price points, right? And then, from there, it will get more and more sophisticated, complex, and it probably will move at increasing velocity.
I gotta say, it's pretty impressive. I mean, I can remember in my own lifetime, as a kid, growing up, building homes, a step at a time, and you can never really see the big picture until the big picture is actually done. And now I like the way that you phrase it, take a mid-level engineer and give them the tools to be able to succeed and operate at the output of a senior engineer. Just imagine somebody building a home. You don't have to be that sophisticated master architect. Yeah. You can still see the picture and get guided very prescriptively. Almost like guiding an orchestra to get to the end of the sheet of music. And I really do think that partners such as yourself are really instrumental to helping our customers succeed there. And I am waiting very anxiously to see in the future what you guys do, Pete. This is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
Pete, thanks for joining us. That was just a really cool way of summing up the tantalizing possibilities of what this new technology is going to bring us. It's just really a matter of when. Yeah. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Up next, we've got AJ Nair with Elastic. So stick around through a short break, and it's going to be a good conversation coming up next.
Undoubtedly. Thank you all.
Thank you.